Hey, what's up? My name is JrTheREI. I'm a vacant land wholesaler who has closed over 90 deals. I've done this with none of my own money, no real estate license, and having only seen one in person. I've started this series to go through each deal that I've ever done in depth. I'm going to walk you through my second ever closing, which was all the way back in September of 2020. I'm going to let you know exactly how I obtained the deal, the type of list that I created to get the deal, and how I was able to find a buyer for this deal. On this deal, I did one of my favorite strategies, which I like to refer to as reverse wholesaling. And what that means is I had my buyer before I even had the lead. So what I did was I posted in Facebook groups to see if there were any builders looking for vacant land at discounted prices, and the leads would be off market. So that means that they're not listed with a realtor on the MLS. I got tons of inquiries, one of which happened to become a buyer of mine for more than one deal. I explained to him how I wholesale land. I let him know that I was going to be texting owners of land that do not have their properties listed on the MLS so that they would be exclusive to him. I let him know that that's what I would do, and he understood that my intention was to get an off-market property and make an assignment fee by getting that property under contract and then assigning it to him for the assignment fee. He understood that and was completely fine with it. Discussing with the buyer about which areas he wanted me to target to generate these leads and potential deals in, I then went on propstream.com and I created a list specific to the filters that he had provided to me. It was very, very simple, and honestly it was more simple than trying to blindly wholesale in new markets. So I searched the cities and counties, I applied those filters, and then I pulled the list. Once I pulled it, I sent it to clearskip.com for skip tracing so that way I could get the phone numbers, emails, and mailing address of all the owners of these properties in these cities. I then put the list, once it was returned to me from ClearSkip, into batch leads, which is an SMS software. Prior to this, I was using my cell phone to manually cold call and text all of my leads. Once I closed my first deal, I took that money and invested it straight into batch leads, which completely turned my business around. I was then able to send 50 to 100 text messages in the same amount of time it would take me to make 5 text messages from my phone. So I had a lot of leads coming in. I then had the idea that I would put these leads into a Google Sheet. I would include the address, the lot size, the utility information, the asking price, and then I would share that with my buyer. Now the buyer would tell me his all-in purchase price, including my assignment fee, and then I would go make offers based on those numbers. After a few days of sending text messages, I had a surplus of leads for him to look at and analyze. He was local to the areas that I was marketing to, so I would give him 10 to 15 leads per day. He would do his computer analysis and then go and drive and see the properties in person the following day. Now, once he visited the properties and he had completely analyzed each one, he would then go back to the Google Sheet and he had a section to let me know his all-in price. So some owners had prices in mind that were far too high for him as an investor. So he would still give me his all-in price on those, and I would make offers, sometimes offending the owners. And then some owners had asking prices that already worked within his budget. Also, some owners wanted to hear offers, so I would have to make those offers based on his numbers. So he would give me his all-in numbers, and I would make offers around 70 to 80% of the value of his all-in, so that way I can make that margin in between. Now, on this particular lead, it was a half-acre lot in Cumming, Georgia. He let me know that in this area, he could be all-in for $60,000. I made an offer around 70% of that value, but come to find out, the owner themselves wanted $60,000 as the purchase price. So I reported that back to my buyer and I let him know, hey, the owners of this land, they want exactly what you're willing to be all in for. And I had the awareness to where I knew I wanted to stay connected with this buyer, so I offered this lead to him free. Like, I wasn't going to make anything on it. But he was He's a good guy. So what he told me was lock it up for $60,000 and I'll pay you a $2,500 assignment fee, which is not a home run of a deal, but it's easy money. It took me 15 minutes to make the list. He analyzed and gave me the numbers. I just made offers based off his numbers. And now I'm going to make $2,500 basically from him doing the majority of the work. So I then started to realize that reverse wholesaling is a really good strategy and method to pick up some easy money. In some cases, you can pick up big checks, but any amount of money that you can make off reverse wholesaling is not bad. Now I've already got a buyer ready and willing to move forward before I even have the property under contract. I then sent the purchase agreement to the owner at $60,000 plus closing costs with myself as the buyer. That contract had to be assignable though. We came to terms, they agreed it was the price they wanted, they signed, I signed. Now, the minute that they signed, I typed up the assignment of contract for a $60,000 purchase price plus the $2,500 assignment fee, which would be due to me, and I sent it to my buyer. He signed as well. So on the same day that I got the purchase agreement, I had my assignment of contract. I then took both of those contracts and I sent it to the buyer's preferred closing attorney and let them know that we would be doing a title search on that property. The purchase price of the property was $60,000. I, Junior Lee, was assigning it to my buyer for the assignment fee, and he was covering all the closing costs. Once the title came back clear and was ready to close, I notified the seller. The buyer was already notified by the attorney, so all we had to do was schedule the closing. The sellers went and attended the closing in person. The buyer also attended closing in person. He sent the wire that day for $62,500 plus the closing cost, and we closed. It was, at that time, the easiest deal that I had completed. It only took me, 30 to 45 minutes worth of active working time on this deal, and I was able to make $2,500. I then started to realize that reverse wholesaling, having my buyers analyze the deals before they're even under contract, and that whole method was a gold mine. So I proceeded to acquire more buyers in the same area to do the exact same method. I had Google Sheets shared with 3 or 4 different people, and I was sharing my leads with them. And you may wonder, well, how come the buyer doesn't just go around you and speak to the seller themselves? And that is a possibility. Some people can do that, but most buyers that are actually buying the land to build on themselves, day to day, they're not doing what we do as wholesalers. They're not pulling lists. They're not skip tracing. A lot of cases, my buyers don't even know how to actually skip trace a property, though it is very, very easy. You just need to build a good, solid relationship and build some trust with these buyers. If they can see your value, that you're showing them 10, 15 leads a day, or even if it's less, and in some markets it can be more, they'll see your value as a wholesaler. They're not going to go around you. And the ones that do, that's fine. They can go around you. They may get a good deal and they have saved themselves a few $1,000s, but they've also cost themselves the opportunity to work with you in the future. So just know your value. Be confident when you're speaking to the buyers. If you're new, let the buyer know, hey, I'm brand new. I haven't ever closed a deal, or I've closed a couple. Whatever the case is, just be honest with your buyer and let them know, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to generate off-market leads for you every day. I'm going to be working for your best interest. All I need you to do is let me know your all-in price for these properties. I'm going to lock it up for less and assign it to you for the difference. And you'll be printing checks. I mean, over the 90 deals, I've probably done 25 to 30% of them just like this. I had the buyer analyze it on the front end before I even had it under contract. And then you just make that spread in between, whatever it is. It can be $2,500. It could be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. It's really unlimited because they've given you their all-in price. Now you just have to go get it for less. So to summarize, the way I acquired this deal was through reverse wholesaling. I had my buyer let me know his all-in price. He let me know his markets, specific types of properties, zip codes, and I went and cultivated the list on PropStream. So I pulled the list on PropStream, sent it to clearskip.com for skip tracing. Once I got the list back, I put it into batch leads to do my SMS marketing. Once I got the leads, I put it into Google Sheets, which is free, shared it with my buyer. He gave me the all-in price. In this case, I got it for his exact all-in price, but since he wanted to continue to work with me, he was able to squeeze out another $2,500 for me. And then we used a closing attorney because Georgia is an attorney state. And once the title was back clear to close, I didn't even have to attend closing. So land wholesaling is really, really awesome because there's not as many nuances as there is with house wholesaling. And I'm not knocking house wholesaling. When I initially got started, I wanted to wholesale houses just like everybody on YouTube, but I kind of accidentally started wholesaling land. And ever since September of 2020, I've never looked back. I've done over 90 land wholesale deals. Whether it's signing the contract or double closing it, I've done 90 plus transactions. And over those 90, I've only seen one in person. So you can do this from virtually anywhere in the world. And I truly do mean that. I have been blessed and fortunate enough to get confident in this business of land wholesaling. And I have proven to myself time and time again that it does not matter where in the world that I am. I can close deals, I can get new deals, I can get properties under contract, I can generate leads, I can build relationships with buyers anywhere. I have successfully closed land wholesale deals while on vacation in Chicago, Costa Rica, Scotland, England, Mexico, Dominican Republic. And by doing that just on vacation, giving myself the confidence, knowing that I can run a business from anywhere in the world just with a laptop, a cell phone, and Wi-Fi, I was able to move my family last month down to Mexico, just outside of Cancun. We live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And since moving, I've closed a couple of deals without any issues. So you too can do this. You can do it in your local markets. You can do it nationwide. You can do it anywhere in the country where wholesaling is allowed. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email or a DM. Just let me know. I can answer anything for you. I'm here to just spread my experience, let you know how I've done things. So hopefully you can imitate exactly what I've done and you can close some deals too. I mean, it really is life-changing. When I first got started in 2020, I was living in my grandmother's basement. And now my wife and I, we got married. We did our wedding photos in Costa Rica. We were able to travel. Prior to land wholesaling, I'd never been out of the country. Wholesaling has allowed me to travel, start a family. My wife and I, we had our son last September. And now we live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. So yeah.